Sunday, Sunday, Sunday!
Hey guys, welcome to a quick episode of Muscle Minibike Builds. As you know, we built the Hot Tilly going on the Temecula Bob frame. So today we're going to pull off this old, blown up, seized clone. It's a John Deere motor, that's what we came to find out. I'm going to save it, like I said earlier, take it apart down the line, maybe we can reuse it, who knows, or salvage it for parts or whatever. Anyway, we're going to take the motor off it today, put a new clutch on it, put the Hot Tilly on it, make a couple passes with it, see what kind of speed we get out of it, and see what happens. Let's go from there. Turn fasteners. Pretty interesting. Short side note here, where I grew up back in New York on Long Island, in the town of West Islip. This is where they were manufactured. And I almost went to work for this company when I was in high school, a long time ago. The company's not there anymore, long gone. Believe it or not, the spot where the factory was is now a hazmat, or what they call a Superfund site, because of all the toxic shit that went to the ground. Pretty funny. One thing nice about the motor being seized is that you get the clutch bolt right out. I think the thing got water in it at one time. I'm going to pull the head off, take a look at it. There's probably not much you're going to salvage out of the thing, but we'll see what happens. And surprisingly, the clutch is not rusted to the shaft. There we go. Well, that was easy. Anyway, now we got the motor off it. Let's take this pig outside and clean it up. It's pretty greasy, grimy. I got to do some fab work on it after we do a little testing with the motor and get that out of the way. Pull the motor back off, put the disc brake conversion on it. I'm going to weld some brackets. I'm going to do a couple of little tricks we're going to do to it. And again, you're going to see this bike get revealed at Joe's Minibike Reunion, October 19th in La Crescenta, California. So, I'll be right back. there we go, all nice and clean. Let's start putting this thing together. Well, there it is, all cleaned up. Get ready to put the motor on it. We're gonna have to set up a little temporary tank setup on it. That scrub brake is gonna be going away. I'm just gonna strap on an aluminum tank on the frame and send it. So let's see what happens. Let's put it together and we'll follow up in a little bit. So as you can see, we got a test tank in here. It's actually going to be the permanent tank, but right now it's just zip tied in until I weld tabs in. We'll do that when we go to the fabrication on the frame. Frame itself's all cleaned up, degreased, motor's set up. Obviously can't run the stock tank because when you run a vented side cover or billet side cover, the tank goes over basically where the fittings are without smashing in the side of the tank, which guys unfortunately do. It really doesn't work. You should just run a separate tank. So let's get this thing sitting in the frame, see how it looks. Hook up the throttle, bolt it down, adjust the chain, and we're going to go take this thing for a ride. Power Sports. Alright, there you go. It's in. It fits really good. The 3-stage F&B pipe clears the frame no problem. Got about, a good finger width away from it. One thing I am going to do is I am going to a disc brake in the rear. This rear tire isn't actually centered on the back of the bike. If you look at it, it's about a ½ inch over to the right. But there is plenty of room to move it a ½ inch to the left. I've already taken it apart and played with it once. If you move the spacers around, it moves the wheel over. Chain still clears the frame. But I pick up a ½ inch of space in here, which is what I need to run a disc, weld the bracket, and put the hydraulic rear brake on it. So that's what we're going to be doing. So it has to get a billet adjustable engine plate. That gives you the ability, obviously, to go back and forth and side to side. So I don't have to re-drill the motor plate, bolt down the engine plate, line it all up, set it up, shift that motor over that ½ inch, maybe a little less. I get perfect chain alignment. We're good to go. I pick up the space on this side, can run the disc brake, and we'll go from there. One of the neat things you're going to see is I had a disc brake made up with the bolt pattern for a TriStar that we're going to set up on the TriStar adapter. Eric at the Grey Goat Garage hooked me up with the disc brake, and I'm the guinea pig to see if it'll work. It looks like it's going to be a bolt-in deal other than welding on the tab and a bracket for the hydro. So that'll be in an upcoming episode. Make sure you keep an eye out for it. Let me finish bolting this thing in, get the throttle hooked up, get the crankcase vent, stuff like that, just kind of plumbed out of the way, and let's go take this thing for a ride. Here we go. All right, let's start bolting this thing in and get this thing finished up. Well, there she is, all set up for its first run. Fuel tanks mounted, oil vent tanks mounted, throttle's done, fuel line's done. Everything's kind of zip tied in place, but it looks pretty good. Chain alignment was perfect. Breather tank. It's got just a little blue rag on top of the breather just to catch anything extra that may or may not come out, because that's not the final setup how it's going to be when it's all finished. Let's get some fuel in it, and let's go for a ride, man. Let's see what this thing does. I'm pretty excited. Here we go. Well, that's a wrap for Send It Sunday. Bike ran real good. Took it out a little bit longer. Made a couple more passes with it on a longer street. I got 65 miles an hour out of it. Not too bad. We still got to dial in the gearing. It's got a 10-2 front. I believe it's a 54 rear. I didn't count it yet. We're running the 420 chain on a cheap max torque clutch. So when I get a better clutch on it, get the gearing a little right, then I'll really dial it in and see how she runs. But I'll tell you, at 65, I had to let off it because I was starting to run out of road. There's a couple of side streets coming up. You know, you just got to be careful. And it was pulling like a freight train. So who knows what it's got left in. Anyway, I want to thank Go Power Sports for sponsoring us with this build. They supplied us with all the parts we need. Next step will be to knock this thing down, take it all apart. I got to do a little fab work on the back to make a rear disc brake work. We're going to a hydraulic rear disc brake. Fuel tank, that's going to get sent out and get polished locally here in town. And then everything else on the bike is getting completely taken apart, stripped, glass beaded, send it out for powder coat, upholstery on the new seat. It's going to look good when it's done, man. We're really going to have this thing looking good. Front end's coming off. It's getting a suspension front end that I'm putting together, so it'll have a full suspension front end on it. And then we will be revealing this bike at Joe's Minibike Reunion, October 19th in La Crescenta, California. And we'll also be doing a dyno pull with this thing while we're at the event. We'll see what happens. My target was 20 horsepower. If it pulls 17, 18 on the dyno, you lose 10 to 12% in losses of drag and gearing and stuff like that. You know, that puts you somewhere around 20 horsepower. So if I can see 17 to 18 on the dyno, I'll be more than happy, and I achieved my target. So who knows? We're going to do a live, we're going to do a YouTube live from the event when this is on the dyno. But we'll give you more information on that as we get closer. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you got a chance to Send It Sunday as well, like we did. And tune in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit that notification button, and like our videos, because there's more to come. Take care. Have a good day.